Cole Brennan came to Oklahoma to disappear. 43 years old, gray blue eyes that had seen too much. A German Shepherd K9 named Duke who understood silence better than most people understood words. Cole bought 40 acres of nothing scrub grass, red dirt, and a horizon so flat you could watch your mistakes catch up to you from miles away. He came to build a small house, to plant something that didn't bleed when you touched it, to pay off the bank in 90 days or lose the only ground he'd ever chosen for himself. Duke came because Cole came. That's how it worked between them. The dog was 7 years old, 90 pounds of muscle and old wars, black and tan coat, ears that stood like radar towers, eyes that tracked movement the way some men track regret. He'd spent 6 years in the Navy finding IEDs before they found Marines. Now he found reasons for Cole to stay present when Cole's mind tried to drift back to sand and fire. They made it 3 days before the land started talking. On the morning Duke stopped walking, Cole was already thinking about leaving. Not because of the debt, though the debt was real. Not because of the heat, though. April in Oklahoma could make you believe hell was just practice. He was thinking about leaving because staying required believing you deserved to stay. And Cole Brennan had stopped believing that the day he gave an order that put a good man in a bad hole. Iraq, 2016. A tunnel that shouldn't have been there. Cole shook the thought away like water. The past didn't have permission to live here. That was the deal he'd made with himself. But the land didn't care about deals. The truck was a '98 Ford, sun-faded red, camper shell that rattled like a skeleton every time the road turned mean. Cole drove it into the town of Ashford on a Tuesday morning when the light was still clean and the world hadn't decided whether to be kind or not. Ashford was the kind of place that used to matter. 3,000 people when the census felt generous. A main street with more empty windows than full ones. A diner that served breakfast all day because nobody had the heart to tell them lunch wasn't worth the effort. The sign at the town limit said Ashford, founded 1889, a good place to grow. Someone had spray painted underneath or died trying. Cole pulled into the gravel lot beside Martha's Diner. Duke hopped out before the engine stopped ticking. The dog didn't run. He surveyed. Nose up, ears, rotating body still. Reading the air the way a soldier reads a room before entering. Cole watched him. Habit. You didn't stop watching your K9 just because the war ended. Duke had saved his life 4 times, officially. Unofficially, the count was higher, but those saves didn't come with citations. Those were the ones where Duke pressed against Cole's leg at 2 in the morning and kept him from walking into the kitchen to find the gun. Clear, Cole asked. Duke's tail gave one measured thump. They went inside. The diner smelled like coffee that had been born bitter and raised to be meaner. Bacon grease older than Cole. Pancakes that came from a box but didn't apologize for it. 4 booths, 6 stools, 1 waitress, who looked like she'd been there since the sign went up. Her name tag said Betty. She had to be pushing 70. Wearing a uniform the color of key lime pie and an expression that said she'd heard every story and didn't need to hear yours. Sit anywhere that's not broken, she said. Cole took the booth by the window. Duke lay down beside the table. Not under it. Positioning, always positioning. Betty brought coffee without asking. Dog stays outside, she said. Service dog. Betty looked at Duke. Duke looked back. It wasn't a contest. It was a mutual assessment. He bite, only when I ask. You planning to ask, not today. Betty's mouth did something that might have been a smile 40 years ago. Eggs and toast, Cole said. Bacon, if it's not rubber. Bacon's always rubber. That's how you know it's cooked. She walked away, then stopped. You're the one bought the Brennan land. It wasn't a question. Yes, ma'am. James's boy. Yes, ma'am. He was a good man. Your daddy. Quiet but good. She paused. Died too young. Most good men do. Betty looked at him with eyes that had buried 3 husbands. You planning to stay, planning to try. Trying's not the same as doing. No, ma'am, it's not. The eggs came. The bacon came. It was rubber. Betty returned with a plate. Cole hadn't ordered 2 sausage links, slightly charred. For the bomb, she said. On the house. She set it on the floor beside Duke. Duke sniffed once, twice, then turned his head away. Slowly, deliberately, the way a judge dismisses a case. Betty's eyebrows went up. Well, I'll be damned. Cole almost smiled. He used to eat MRS. Standards got high. That dog's got more class than my 3rd husband. When Cole paid, Betty handed him a folded piece of paper. Your Aunt Ruth asked me to give you this. Cole unfolded it. The handwriting was neat, careful. The handwriting of someone who believed words mattered. Colt, your father left something for you. Come see me when you're ready. Don't sell the Northland. Not yet. Aunt Ruth. Below that, an address on Maple Street. Maple Street was 6 blocks east and 40 years backward. Trees older than the Depression. Houses with porches that sagged like old men remembering better days. Ruth's house was a small brick bungalow painted the color of pale butter. The flowers were the kind that survived Oklahoma summers by sheer stubbornness. The front door opened before Cole reached the porch. Ruth Brennan was 77 years old and looked like she'd been made from wire and old books. Thin, upright, silver hair cut short and practical. Glasses that magnified eyes sharp enough to count your sins from across a room. Colt, she said. Aunt Ruth. She looked at Duke. Duke looked back. He's beautiful, she said. He's effective. Same thing if you do it right. She stepped aside. Come in, both of you. The house smelled like lemon oil and old paper. Books everywhere, shelves, stacks, tables. A lifetime of reading that hadn't stopped just because the library let her go. Ruth sat across from Cole, hands folded like a school teacher waiting for a confession. Your father loved you, she said. I know. He wanted to tell you things, couldn't figure out how. Ruth leaned forward, her voice dropped in weight. James left you something. Not money, not property, though the land is yours now. He left you a key. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a small brass key, old, worn smooth. What's it open? Cole asked. I don't know. He gave it to me 3 days before he died. Said if anything happened to him, I should give it to you when you came home. He say anything else? Ruth's eyes flickered. He said, tell Colt the Northland matters. Tell him not to sell it. Tell him to listen to the dog. Cole frowned. He didn't know Duke. No, but he knew you'd have one. Ruth handed him the key. James was a good man, but he carried things, heavy things, things he couldn't put down. What kind of things? The kind men don't talk about because talking makes them real. Cole closed his fingers around the key. There's something on the Northland, Ruth said. Your father found it years ago, wouldn't tell me what. Just said it was buried and it should stay buried. But he also said if the wrong people came looking, you'd need to know. Wrong people? People who smile when they threaten you. Duke's ears rotated toward the window. Not alarm, just attention. Ruth noticed. He hears everything, doesn't he? Everything that matters. Good, you'll need that. She stood. Go see the land. See what your father wanted you to find. And when you do, don't do what he did. What did he do? He stayed silent. And silence is just another way of choosing a side. As they drove away, Cole looked in the rearview mirror. Ruth stood on the porch, small and straight, watching them leave like a sentry guarding a grave. Cole pulled the brass key from his pocket and set it on the dashboard. Northland, he said to Duke. Duke's ears went forward. The North 40 was a 20-minute drive on county roads that hadn't been paved since Reagan. Cole turned onto the dirt access road his father had cut decades ago. The gate was still there. The chain and lock were new. The key Ruth gave him fit. Duke jumped down and immediately started working. Nose to the ground, zigzagging, reading the earth. This was what he'd been trained for: detection, analysis, threat assessment. Cole drove through the gate and closed it behind them. The land rolled gently, covered in tall grass that moved like water when the wind blew. Scattered scrub oak. A few cottonwoods marking where water used to run. Red dirt showing through in patches like old scars. It was beautiful in the way forgotten things are beautiful, not because they're perfect, but because they endure. Cole drove slow, looking for whatever his father wanted him to find. He saw nothing, just land, just sky. Then Duke stopped. Not slowed, stopped. Dead still, ears forward, body locked, muzzle pointing north like a compass needle that found true. Cole braked. Duke. The dog didn't move. He was in work mode now. Full focus. Cole shut off the engine and stepped out. The wind had died. The air felt heavier, like the land was holding its breath. Duke. Seek. The command released him. Duke moved forward, nose down, tracking something Cole couldn't see. The dog covered ground fast, efficient, moving in the pattern they'd drilled 1,000 times in 1,000 bad places. 50 yards ahead, Duke stopped again. This time he sat. The sit was a signal. Target acquired. Cole's heart kicked. In Iraq, that sit meant IED. It meant stop walking or stop living. Here it meant something else. But Duke didn't sit for nothing. Cole approached carefully, scanning the ground for tripwires, pressure plates, anything that didn't belong. He reached Duke and knelt beside him. Good boy, show me. Duke's nose pointed at a patch of ground that looked like every other patch of ground, tall grass, red dirt, nothing special. Except it was special, because Duke said it was. Cole pushed the grass aside, felt the earth. It was harder here, compacted, not natural. He went back to the truck and grabbed a collapsible shovel. Returned, started digging. 6 inches down the blade hit something solid. Not rock, not root, metal. Cole's pulse climbed. He cleared more dirt, widening the hole, working carefully. A shape emerged, flat, rectangular. Edges too straight to be natural. A hatch, steel, old. Painted olive drab, now flaking and rusted. And in the center, stenciled in faded black letters, U.S. Army. Corps of Engineers, Project Thornfield, 1984 to 1985. Site sealed November. 1985. Below that, smaller, authorized personnel only. Cole sat back on his heels. Duke hadn't moved. Still sitting, still pointing, still saying, this is what you need to see. Cole's hands were shaking. He'd been in enough classified sites to know what authorized personnel only meant. It meant secrets. It meant things the government didn't want found. It meant his father had been standing exactly where Cole was standing now, and it had killed him. Cole pulled out his phone, no signal. Of course, he circled the hatch, clearing more dirt. The edges were sealed tight. Decades of rust and soil had welded it shut, but there was a recessed handle on one side. Heavy, industrial. Cole gripped it, pulled. Nothing. He braced his feet and pulled harder. The metal groaned. Rust flaked away like old skin. Then, with a sound like a coffin opening, the hatch gave. Not much, an inch, but enough to break the seal. Air hissed out, stale chemical wrong. The smell hit Cole like a fist, bitter, metallic. The smell of things that shouldn't be buried but were. Duke's ears went flat. A low sound came from his chest. Not a growl, a warning. Cole's training kicked in. He stepped back from the hatch. Let the air vent, didn't lean over it. Bad air killed as sure as bullets. He waited 5 minutes. The smell faded but didn't disappear. Cole pulled the hatch open fully. It swung on corroded hinges, revealing a ladder descending into darkness. Steel rungs spotted with rust. Cole clicked on his flashlight, pointed it down the shaft. The beam cut through darkness, revealing a chamber below, maybe 10 feet down. Concrete walls, steel supports, and something else. On the floor of the chamber, a metal box, olive drab, military issue, the kind used for transporting documents that couldn't be trusted to regular mail. Cole looked at Duke again. I'm going down. If I'm not back in 5 minutes, you run. Duke's eyes didn't leave his face. Cole tested the first rung. It held. He descended. The air got colder with each step. His breath fogged in the flashlight beam. At the bottom, he swept the space. 12 by 12. Concrete floor, walls lined with conduit and piping, a metal desk bolted to the floor. Papers scattered across it, yellowed and brittle, and in the corner, half hidden by shadow, something large. Curved, riveted, metal. The side of something bigger. Cole moved closer. It was the edge of a rail car. His mind tried to process it and failed. A rail car. Underground, 2 miles from the nearest track. Why Duke barked from above. Once. Sharp. The bark that meant threat inbound. Cole's instincts fired. He grabbed the metal box from the floor, heavier than it looked, and moved to the ladder. Climbing one-handed box tucked under his arm, flashlight in his teeth, he reached the surface and pulled himself out. Duke was already moving, positioning between Cole and the sound. A vehicle. Diesel engine. Coming closer. A black SUV rolled into view from the south. New, clean, wrong. It stopped 50 yards away. 2 men got out. The first was older, maybe 55. Gray hair. Wire-rimmed glasses. Wearing a tan windbreaker over a button-down shirt. The second was younger. 35. Short dark hair. Fit. He wore jeans and a black jacket and stood like he was used to being the enforcer. The older man smiled. Practiced. The kind you saw in campaign ads. Mr. Brennan, he called out. Cole didn't answer. He closed the hatch with his boot dirt falling back over it. The older man walked closer, slowly, hands visible. My name is Dr. Kenneth Marsh. I'm with the County Environmental Compliance Office. We received a report of unauthorized excavation on this property. Property's mine, Cole said. Of course, I'm not suggesting otherwise. Marsh's smile didn't change. But there are regulations, particularly regarding disturbed soil in areas with historical activity. What kind of activity? The kind that requires monitoring. Marsh glanced at the dirt around the hatch. May I ask what you found? Dirt. Just dirt. That's what land's made of. The younger man shifted his weight. His jacket opened just enough to show a holster. Duke's body went rigid, lips curled back, teeth showing. No sound, just visible threat. Marsh noticed, his smile thinned. That's a beautiful dog. German Shepherd. K9, Navy. Ah, service dog. Working dog. Of course, Marsh adjusted his glasses. Mr. Brennan, I understand you've recently acquired this land. It's complicated property. There are things here that predate your ownership, things that for everyone's safety should remain undisturbed. Undisturbed by who? By everyone. Marsh's voice stayed pleasant. I'd like to help you navigate this situation properly, legally. I'll handle it. I'm sure you will, but sometimes handling things requires expertise you might not have. Cole met his eyes. I've handled things before. Marsh held the gaze for 3 seconds, then nodded slowly. I'm sure you have. He reached into his pocket, slow, deliberate, and pulled out a business card. Set it on the hood of the SUV. If you find anything unusual, anything that concerns you, call me. He turned and walked back to the vehicle. The younger man followed, still watching Cole. They got in. The SUV backed up, turned, and drove away. Cole waited until the sound faded completely. Then he looked at Duke. Duke's eyes were locked on the direction the SUV had gone. Yeah, Cole said. I don't trust them either. He picked up the business card without touching it directly. Looked at it. Dr. Kenneth Marsh, Environmental Compliance Consultant, Department of Energy. Regional Liaison. A phone number. An email. Nothing else. Department of Energy. The same agency stamped on the hatch. Cole's stomach went cold. He looked at the metal box he'd pulled from the chamber. It was locked. Heavy-duty padlock. Military issue. He carried it to the truck. Set it in the bed. Covered it with a tarp. Duke jumped into the cab. Cole started the engine. His hands were steady now because he knew what this was. This was the thing his father had found. The thing that made him quiet. The thing that killed him. And now it was Cole's. The sun was setting, painting the sky the color of old blood. Duke sat beside him, watching the road, watching the mirrors, watching for threats. Cole's mind was running scenarios. Tactical assessments. Dr. Kenneth Marsh. Department of Energy. Authorized personnel only. His father's voice, 3 years dead. Tell him the Northland matters? Yeah, it mattered. And people were going to die because of it. Cole just had to make sure he wasn't one of them. The metal box sat on Ruth's kitchen table like a confession waiting to be heard. Cole had driven straight from the Northland to Maple Street. Duke rode shotgun ears, rotating at every passing car. Ruth opened the door before Cole knocked. She looked at the box, then at his face, and stepped aside without a word. Inside, she put the kettle on. Not because anyone wanted tea, but because her hands needed something to do. Cole set the box on the table. You found it? Ruth said. Found something? The lock, military grade. Ruth disappeared into the hallway and returned with a small toolbox. She handed Cole a bolt cutter that looked older than the Cold War. Your grandfather's, she said. Cole positioned the jaws around the padlock shank. The metal was old but strong. He squeezed. The cutter's handles bit into his palms. The lock resisted, then surrendered with a crack. Cole lifted the lid. Inside, layers of oilcloth wrapped tight, sealed with brittle tape. He unwrapped carefully. The first thing he saw was a leather-bound notebook. Brown, water-stained. The cover embossed with initials J.E.B., James Edward Brennan. Below that, a plastic case containing magnetic tapes. 4 of them. Labeled in his father's handwriting, a March 1984, August 1985, September 1985, January 2021, and beneath the tapes photographs. Polaroids, the color faded to amber. Cole spread them on the table. The first photo showed a young man in his late 20s. Dark hair, strong jaw, wearing a hard hat, standing in front of industrial equipment. Cole recognized the eyes. His father, James Brennan, 40 years younger. The second photo showed the same man standing beside someone else. Another man, early 30s, wearing glasses and a dress shirt with the sleeves rolled up. Both smiling. Cole turned the photo over. Written in pencil, J. Brennan and K. Marsh. Site Alpha, March 1984. Cole's blood went cold. K. Marsh, Kenneth Marsh, the man who'd driven onto his land 6 hours ago. He hadn't aged well, but the face was the same. The glasses were the same. The smile was the same. That's him, Cole said, the man who came today. He was there, with my father. 40 years ago. Ruth leaned over the photo. Her face went pale. She sat down heavily. Kenny Marsh, she whispered. I remember him. He worked for the Department of Energy. Came to town in '84. Everyone thought he was here to help with infrastructure. Her voice turned bitter. We were so damn stupid. What was he really doing? Ruth stood and walked to a bookshelf. She pulled down a leather portfolio, opened it on the table. Inside newspaper clippings, yellow and fragile. Medical records photocopied and marked confidential. A handwritten list of names. This, Ruth said, is what your father died trying to hide. She pointed to the first clipping. Mysterious illness strikes Ashford children. Health officials cite viral outbreak. Ashford Gazette, October 15th, 1985. Cole read fast. 11 children ages 6 to 12 admitted to regional medical center within 8 weeks. Symptoms severe nausea, nosebleeds, bruising, fatigue. Doctors baffled. CDC sent a team. Conclusion unknown, viral pathogen, possibly environmental. They lied, Ruth said. It wasn't a virus. She slid another document across. A medical record. Patient name, Sarah Jane Morrison, DOB, March 14th, 1977. Age 8, Cole's heart stopped. Sarah Morrison, his wife. The woman who died in 2015, wasted away by leukemia that came back harder every time they beat it down. He'd met her in 2009 at a veterans support group. She'd looked at him like he wasn't broken, just bent. They'd married a year later. She'd given him 4 good years before the cancer came back for the final time. Cole had thought it was random, bad luck, but here was Sarah Morrison's name. Age 8, diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia, treated at Regional Medical, released after 6 months. Prognosis guarded. She was one of them, Ruth said quietly, one of the 11. Cole's vision blurred. He forced himself to keep reading. Blood work showing elevated levels of strontium-90, a radioactive isotope, half-life of roughly 29 years, stamped across the top in red ink. Classified, do not disclose. Project Thornfield. Cole's hands started shaking. Not fear, rage. They poisoned her, he said. They poisoned all of them. Ruth nodded. Your father discovered it. He was the site engineer for Project Thornfield. They told him it was geological research, drilling for groundwater data. He believed them, at first. She pulled out another document. A technical report, James Brennan's signature at the bottom. March 1984. Your father was hired as site engineer. By August 1985, they'd begun deep injection testing. By September, the contamination was undeniable. Contamination from what? They weren't researching, Ruth said. They were disposing, deep injection wells, pumping liquid nuclear waste 600 meters underground. Experimental. Classified. Supposed to be safe because the waste would be contained in deep rock formations. But it wasn't contained. No, the rock fractured, the waste migrated, got into the water table. Ruth's voice cracked. 11 children drank that water, played in it, bathed in it. Cole looked at the list of names, 11 kids, beside each name a date, beside each date a single word. Deceased. 10 of them were dead. Most within 5 years. One made it to 2003. One made it to 2015. Sarah had been the last survivor. Cole's chest felt like it was collapsing. His hands clenched into fists. Duke moved. The dog walked to Cole's side, warm presence close. Firm, grounding. The pressure said, stay here. Stay now. Don't leave me. Cole put his hand on Duke's head, felt the solid warmth, breathed. What did my father do? Cole asked. Ruth's face hardened. He reported it, wrote a formal complaint, demanded they shut down the site, test the water, warned the families. And Marsh told him no, said the contamination was within acceptable limits, said disclosure would cause panic, said the project was critical to national security. Ruth's hands trembled. Your father threatened to go public. Marsh threatened back. Threatened how? Ruth slid a photograph across the table, different from the others. This one showed a little girl on a hospital bed, bald from chemo, thin, eyes too old for her face. Sarah. Written on the back, Dr. Marsh promised full treatment if James stays silent. Agreement J. Brennan will falsify geological reports. Will confirm site integrity. Will not disclose contamination. Effective immediately. Cole felt sick. His father had made a deal with the devil. He saved her, Ruth said. Sarah got treatment she never could have afforded. Experimental drugs, top oncologist. She lived 30 more years because your father chose her over the truth. What about the other 10? Ruth's eyes filled. They got standard care, whatever their insurance covered. Most were gone within a decade. Cole stood. The chair scraped back. Duke stood with him. He chose one life over 10. He chose his goddaughter over strangers, Ruth corrected. Sarah's mother was my sister. James was Sarah's godfather. When Marsh offered the deal, James took it, because he was human, because he loved her. Cole walked to the window. Outside Maple Street was dark and quiet. Why did they kill him? Cole asked. I don't know if they did. The coroner said heart attack. You said you saw his face. Ruth's voice dropped to a whisper. I was there when he died. January 2021. He'd been working in his garage. I brought him dinner. Found him on the floor. Still breathing. Barely. She paused, swallowed. His last words. He grabbed my hand and said, they know I kept copies. Tell Colt. Tell him to listen to the dog. He died before the ambulance came. Cole turned. 3 years ago, why didn't you tell me you were overseas, Afghanistan? I sent you the funeral notice. You didn't come. I couldn't. I know, she gestured vaguely. Deployed, classified. Cole had been in Kandahar when his father died, running night ops. He'd gotten the message, filed it away, and kept working because the mission didn't stop for grief. He'd never asked questions, never wondered why a healthy 64-year-old man dropped dead. He'd just accepted it. The tapes, Cole said. What's on them? Ruth looked at the 4 magnetic reels. I don't know. Your father told me they were insurance. His testimony. If anything happened to him, you'd need them. I need to hear them. I don't have a player. I'll find one. Ruth started to say something, then stopped. Her face changed, fear sharp and sudden. What? Cole asked. If Marsh came to your land today, he knows you found the chamber, which means he knows James kept evidence, which means she didn't finish. If Marsh had killed James to keep the secret buried, he'd kill Cole for digging it up. Duke's body tensed. The dog walked to the window, stared out. Cole moved beside him, looked. A sedan was parked across the street. Dark, engine off, someone sitting in the driver's seat, watching. Ruth saw it. That's not a neighbor. No, Cole agreed. He pulled out his phone. Still no signal in Ruth's dead zone. You have a landline. Disconnected it last year. Cole's mind ran tactics. 1 exit, 2 windows. Unknown hostiles outside. Bad position. Duke's body vibrated with barely contained aggression. Cole made a decision. We're leaving. Back door. My truck's in the alley. Ruth grabbed the metal box, shoving everything back inside. She moved faster than a 77-year-old woman should move. They went through the kitchen. Cole checked the back window. The alley was clear. He opened the doors slowly. Duke went first, sweeping left and right. Clear. They moved fast. Ruth carried the box. Cole carried awareness. The truck was parked 20 feet away. They made it 15 feet before the sedan's headlights snapped on. The car accelerated, cutting through the alley entrance to block their path. 2 men got out. Not Marsh, younger, harder, private contractors. Cole knew the look. The first man was tall, crew-cut, wearing tactical pants. The second was shorter, stockier, same wardrobe. Mr. Brennan, the tall one said, we need you to come with us. I'm good here. Wasn't a request. Duke stepped between Cole and the men. Body language shifted. This wasn't warning anymore. This was preparation. Call off your dumb, the tall man said. He makes his own decisions. The shorter man reached for his hip. Duke exploded. No bark, no warning, pure kinetic violence. He hit the shorter man before the gun cleared leather. 90 pounds of muscle and momentum. Jaws locked on the forearm. The man screamed. The tall man drew. Cole moved, training older than thought. He closed the distance before the barrel leveled. Grabbed the wrist, twisted, drove his elbow into the man's throat. The gun discharged. The shot went wide. Cole wrenched the weapon free, ejected the magazine, stripped the slide, threw the pieces in 3 directions. The tall man dropped to his knees, gagging. Duke released the shorter man's arm and backed toward Ruth, positioning between her and the threat. The shorter man crawled backward, cradling his mangled forearm. Cole stood over them. Tell Marsh, Cole said quietly, if he wants the evidence, he can come himself. He turned. Ruth, truck, now. She ran. Duke followed. Cole backed toward the vehicle, eyes on the 2 men. He climbed into the driver's seat. Ruth was already in box on her lap. Duke jumped in, squeezing into the footwell. Cole started the engine, backed up fast, threw it in drive. The sedan tried to block them. Cole didn't slow. Metal screamed. His mirror snapped off. Then they were through. He drove fast, not reckless, just fast enough to lose a tail. Ruth was shaking. They were going to take us. Yeah. Where are we going? I don't know yet. His phone buzzed. Signal was back. A text from an unknown number. You have something that belongs to the government. Return it and this ends quietly. Refuse and it ends differently. You have 24 hours. KM. Cole showed it to Ruth. She read it. They're not going to stop. No. What do we do? Cole looked at Duke. The dog was panting, adrenaline still high, but his eyes were clear. We need help, Cole said. Someone who knows how to make this public. Ruth pulled out her phone. Old flip model. She scrolled through contacts. Declan Hurst, she said. My nephew, investigative journalist, works freelance. He's been trying to expose Thornfield for 2 years. She dialed. 4 rings. Then a voice, young and wary, Aunt Ruth. It's midnight. Declan, I have someone you need to meet, and evidence you've been looking for. A pause. Evidence of what? Ruth looked at Cole. Cole nodded. Evidence, Ruth said, that Project Thornfield killed 11 children, and the government's been covering it up for 40 years. Silence. Then where are you? Headed your way. Don't tell anyone, and if you're being watched, lose them. Understood. She hung up. Cole drove. Duke's breathing slowed. Ruth held the box like nitroglycerin. Somewhere behind them, 2 men were calling their boss. Reporting failure. Escalating the threat. Cole knew what came next. Marsh wouldn't send boys again, which meant Cole had maybe 24 hours to make the evidence public before Marsh made Cole disappear. Declan Hurst lived in a converted garage behind a house he didn't own. The garage was small, crammed with file boxes, computer equipment, and organized chaos. He met them at the door. 30 years old, lean, wearing jeans and a flannel shirt, dark hair that needed cutting. Eyes that burned with intensity. He looked at Ruth, then at Cole, then at Duke. You brought a war dog to my house. You wanted evidence, Cole replied. He found it. Inside smelled like coffee and old pizza. 3 monitors glowed on a makeshift desk. Whiteboards covered one wall filled with names, dates, connections drawn in red marker. Cole saw Thornfield written at the top. Lines connecting to DOE. Lines connecting to names. One of those names, Kenneth Marsh. Declan had been hunting this for a while. Ruth set the metal box on the table. Show him. Cole opened it, spread the contents. Journal, tapes, photos, medical records. Declan's hands trembled as he picked up the first photo. James and Marsh. Where did you get this? My father left it, underground chamber, north 40 of my land. Your father is James Brennan. Was. He died in 2021. Heart attack, maybe. Declan understood immediately. You think they killed him? I think he knew too much and died suddenly. Declan turned to the medical records. His face went pale, then red, then pale again. 11 kids, he whispered, strontium-90 contamination, covered up. My wife was one of them, Cole said. She died 3 years ago. Declan looked at him, saw the grief, the rage, the control barely holding both in check. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. Be useful. Declan nodded. He went to his desk, pulled out hard drives. I need to digitize all of this. Multiple backups, cloud storage, encrypted. How long? 3 hours, maybe 4. We don't have 4 hours. Then I work faster. He started, scanner humming, camera clicking, files uploading. Ruth sat in a folding chair. Duke lay by the door, eyes half closed but ears rotating. Cole stood by the window, watching the street. At 2:17 a.m. his phone buzzed. Another text, same number. Last chance. Return the materials. No questions asked. Expiration 6 a.m. Cole showed it to Declan. That's less than 4 hours. Can you be done if I skip quality checks, maybe? Skip them. At 3:30 a.m. Duke's ears went up. Cole was at the window before the dog moved. A van, white, windowless, moving slow down the street. It passed the house, kept going. Cole didn't relax. Declan, how much longer? 90 minutes. Make it less. At 4:15, the van came back. This time it stopped. 3 houses down. No one got out. It just sat there. Engine idling. We got company, Cole said. Declan looked up. Police, worse. Ruth stood. What do we do? Cole thought. 1 exit, 1 entry. No cover. Bad odds. But he'd worked with worse. Ruth, you know anyone with a car we can borrow? Ruth thought. Eddie Keller, 2 streets over, owes me favors. Call him. While Ruth dialed, Cole turned to Declan. How much is uploaded? 70%. Good enough. Pack your laptop. Everything. I need 15 more minutes. You have 5. Declan moved, unplugging, packing. Ruth finished her call. Eddie's bringing the car. 5 minutes. Duke growled. The van's doors opened. 4 men got out. Dark clothes, purpose in their movement. They didn't walk toward the garage. They walked around it, surrounding. They're boxing us, Cole said. We're not getting out, Declan said. Yes, we are. Cole went to the back window. Small, high, but big enough. Ruth, you first. I'm 77. You can or you're dead. Choose. Ruth's face hardened. She climbed onto a chair. Cole boosted her. She squeezed through, dropped on the other side with a grunt. Declan, you're next. Take the box. Declan grabbed it, shoved his laptop in a backpack, climbed, went through. Duke, out. Duke jumped onto the chair, squeezed through in one smooth motion. Cole was last. He heard the front door rattling. He grabbed the chair, climbed, halfway through when the front door crashed open. Contact rear, someone shouted. Cole dropped to the ground outside, landed hard, rolled. Ruth and Declan were already running, Duke leading them. Cole sprinted after. Behind him, footsteps, shouts. A shot cracked. The bullet hit brick 3 feet from Cole's head. They rounded the corner. A car was waiting. Old Buick. Eddie Keller behind the wheel. 75 if he was a day, wearing a bathrobe. Get in. They piled in. Ruth front seat, Cole, Duke, and Declan in back. Eddie floored it. The Buick lurched forward. Big V8 engine. 2 contractors rounded the corner. Raised weapons. Eddie turned hard. Tires screaming. More shots. The rear window starred. Didn't shatter. Eddie laughed. Bulletproof, installed it in 92. They hit Main Street doing 60, ran a red light, turned onto the highway. Cole looked at them, headlights following. The white van. They're on us, Eddie grinned. Buick versus van, please. He accelerated. 70, 80, 90. The van fell back. They drove for 20 minutes. Eddie took back roads, farmers' roads. Finally, the headlights disappeared. Eddie slowed. Where are we going? Cole looked at Declan. You got the files. Declan checked his laptop. Uploads complete, 87%. Where'd you send them? 3 journalists I trust. New York Times, Washington Post, ProPublica, and my own encrypted server. Can Marsh delete them? Not unless he hacks 4 separate systems simultaneously. And I've got dead man switches. If I don't check in every 12 hours, the files auto-release to 200 media contacts. Cole nodded. Good. Now we need insurance. What kind? The breathing kind. Ruth understood. The tapes. We need to hear what James recorded. Where can we play them? Declan thought. Ashford Public Library. They've got old AV equipment. Archive section. Library opens at 9. Ruth has a key. Ruth pulled a key ring from her purse. Old brass key. Never gave it back. Eddie looked at them in the mirror. Y'all want to break into a library? Borrow, Ruth corrected. At 5 a.m. Best time, no witnesses. Eddie laughed. All right, then. They parked behind the library. Old brick building, built in 1923. Ruth's key worked. They went in through the back. No alarm. The archive section was in the basement. Concrete walls, metal shelves, boxes of town history. And in the corner, AV equipment from 1990. Reel-to-reel player, still functional. Declan set it up, threaded the first tape. March 1984. Ruth closed the door, locked it. Cole hit play. The tape hissed, static. Then a voice, his father's voice, younger, stronger, but unmistakable. March 15th, 1984. This is James Brennan, site engineer, Project Thornfield, recording personal log because official channels have been compromised. A pause, papers shuffling. I've been hired to oversee geological surveys for what they're calling a research initiative. Deep rock analysis, groundwater mapping, standard infrastructure work. But the equipment they're bringing in, this isn't research. This is industrial disposal. The tape continued, James describing the geology, the injection wells, the equipment designed to pump waste deep underground. August 1985. Confirmed groundwater contamination. Plutonium-239 traces at 17 parts per billion. Above EPA limits. Way above, I reported to site supervisor Kenneth Marsh. He told me to retest. I did. Same results. He told me the equipment was faulty. I calibrated. Tested again, same results. Pause. Marsh ordered me to falsify the data, said the project was critical. National security, said contamination was temporary, would dissipate. I refused. He made threats. The voice cracked. Not to me, to Sarah, my goddaughter. He knew she was sick, knew her family couldn't afford treatment. He offered a deal, full medical coverage, best doctors. All I had to do was sign off on the site integrity reports. Silence. I signed. God help me, I signed. September 1985. First child hospitalized. 6-year-old boy, nosebleeds, severe. Then 2 more, then 5, then 11. James's voice was breaking down. I know what this is. I know what I did. I chose one life over many. I chose Sarah. Marsh threatened me today. Said if I disclosed Sarah's treatment stops. Said the families would sue. Said I'd be named. Personally liable. They're covering it up, calling it a viral outbreak. The tape ended. Ruth was crying silently. Declan's face was stone. Cole felt empty, hollowed out. Duke pressed against Cole's leg, warm, real. Cole put his hand on the dog's head. Play the next one, he said. Declan threaded the final tape. January 2021. But before it could start, Ruth's phone rang. She looked at the screen. It's the sheriff's office. She answered. Hello, a voice on speaker. Female dispatcher. Ms. Brennan, this is Ashford Emergency Services. We're trying to reach Cole Brennan. Ruth looked at Cole. He nodded. He's here. Sir, we have a situation. A child is missing. 9-year-old boy, Charlie Porter, last seen near the North Woods. Search and rescue is organizing. We're calling anyone with tracking experience. Cole's chest tightened. North Woods, near his land, near the contamination zone. When did he go missing? Parents reported it 2 hours ago. He was camping with his father. Wandered off. Cole looked at Duke. Duke's ears were up. Alert. I'll be there, Cole said. Ruth grabbed his arm. Colt, you can't. Marsh will. A kid is missing. You'll be exposed. I know, Declan stood. I'll come. No, you stay. Keep uploading. Ding. Cole looked at Ruth. If I don't come back, you make sure those tapes get heard. He turned to Eddie. Get them somewhere safe. Eddie nodded. I got a cousin in Tulsa. Off-grid type. Good. Go. Cole headed for the door. Duke followed. As they left, Ruth called out, Colt, your father would be proud. Cole didn't turn around because he wasn't sure that was true. Dawn came hard and red over the North Woods. Cole drove the Buick. Eddie had tossed him the keys toward the staging area. Duke sat in the passenger seat, nose working the air. The staging area was a gravel lot off County Road 7. 20 vehicles clustered. Sheriff's deputy coordinating. Volunteers holding radios and bad coffee, and hope that was starting to fray. Cole parked at the edge, stepped out. A deputy approached. Young, maybe 25. You, Brennan? Yeah. Heard you got tracking experience. Navy, K-9 handler. The deputy looked at Duke. He's search and rescue certified. He's certified in finding things that don't want to be found. Good enough. The deputy handed Cole a radio and a map. Charlie Porter, 9 years old, brown hair, blue jacket, last seen 0400 hours near this sector. He pointed. Cole studied the map. The marked sector was 300 yards from the sealed injection wells. What did he hear? Cole asked. Father says it sounded like crying. Another kid, maybe. Cole's skin went cold. Crying. Wind through fractured pipes could sound like crying, or pressure release from sealed wells, or a kid in trouble. We're searching in teams, the deputy said. I work alone, Cole interrupted. Me and the dog. The deputy hesitated. Radios crackled. All right, but you find something, you radio immediately. Cole took the radio, clipped it to his belt, walked toward the tree line. Duke was already ahead, nose down, working. Cole keyed the radio. Brennan, entering Sector 7. Static. Then copy. Weather service says storms moving in. You've got maybe 3 hours. Cole looked at the sky. Red dawn fading to bruised gray. Clouds stacking. Copy. He turned the radio volume down to almost nothing. Duke had stopped 20 yards in. Body rigid, head down. The posture that said, I've got scent. Cole approached. What you got, boy? Duke moved, not following a trail, cutting through underbrush with purpose. Track behavior. They moved deeper, trees closed in, oak and pine. Underbrush thick. Duke stopped, sniffed the base of a tree. Moved on. The pattern repeated. Stop, sniff, move. The dog was tracking. Duke barked. Once. Sharp. Target acquired, come now. Cole ran. 30 yards ahead, Duke stood at the edge of a depression. A sinkhole. Cole reached the edge. Looked down. 15 feet deep. Steep sides. And at the bottom, sitting against the dirt wall, was a small boy in a blue jacket. Charlie Porter. Alive. "Hey!" Cole shouted. "Charlie!" The boy's head snapped up, face streaked with dirt and tears. "Help! You hurt." "My ankle, I can't climb," Cole assessed. The sides were loose soil, crumbling, unstable. Climbing down would trigger a collapse. He keyed the radio. "Brennan to base, I've got the boy. Sector 7 coordinates." He checked GPS. Radar numbers. "Need rope and medic." The radio crackled. "Copy. Team's 20 minutes out." 20 minutes was too long. Cole looked at Duke. "Stay." Duke sat. Cole pulled off his jacket, tied one sleeve around a tree trunk, tested the knot. He lowered himself over the edge, using the jacket as anchor and tree roots as handholds. Boots digging into crumbling soil. Halfway down, his boot slipped. He caught himself on a root. Held. Dirt cascaded. Charlie screamed. "It's okay. Stay still." He kept descending. Reached the bottom. The soil here was damp. Dark. It smelled wrong. Chemical. Bitter. This wasn't just a sinkhole. This was a breach. He knelt beside Charlie. The boy was shaking. His ankle was swollen, turning purple. "I got you," Cole said. "What's your name?" "Charlie." "I'm Cole. That's Duke up there. He found you." Charlie looked up. Duke's face appeared over the edge. "Is he going to help?" He already did. Cole checked the ankle. Sprained, maybe fractured, which meant Cole had to carry him. Up 15 feet of unstable soil. Bad math. Cole pulled out the radio. "Brennan to base. I'm with the boy. Beginning ascent." "Copy." He clipped the radio, looked at Charlie. "I'm gonna put you on my back. You hold on tight. Don't let go." Charlie nodded. Cole crouched. The boy climbed on. Light, maybe 60 pounds. Cole gripped the dirt wall, started up. The soil crumbled under his fingers. He grabbed roots, pulled, 5 feet up. The ground under his right boot gave way. He slipped, caught himself. Charlie whimpered. "I'm scared." "I know. Keep holding." Cole climbed. Every handhold a gamble. 10 feet. Duke barked from above. 12 feet. Cole's hands were bleeding. His shoulders burned. 14 feet. Almost there. Then the soil above him shifted. A crack appeared. The edge was collapsing. Duke back. Duke moved. The edge gave way. A section of earth slid down. Cole pressed flat against the wall. Dirt poured over him and Charlie. The slide stopped. Cole looked up. The edge was gone, replaced by a sheer face 3 feet higher. Impossible to climb. They were trapped. Duke barked again. Cole looked up. The dog was doing something strange. Backing up, then running forward, then stopping, repeating. Duke ran forward again. This time he grabbed something in his teeth. The sleeve of Cole's jacket still tied to the tree. Duke pulled. The jacket is stretched. The knot held. Duke backed up, pulling the jacket taut. Cole understood. Duke was making a rope. Good boy. He reached up, grabbed the jacket sleeve. Tested it. The knot held. Duke had 60 pounds of pull strength in his jaws. It was insane. It was the only option. "Charlie, when I say you climb over me and grab that fabric, Duke will hold it." The dog. "Trust him." Cole positioned himself, planted his feet. "Now." Charlie scrambled up Cole's back, grabbed the jacket, pulled. Duke pulled back, holding, muscles locked. Charlie climbed, hand over hand. The jacket creaked. Charlie reached the top, rolled over the edge. Safe. Now Cole. He gripped the jacket with both hands. Duke was still holding. Cole climbed, fast, desperate. The jacket started to tear. 5 feet to go. The fabric ripped. 6 inches, a foot, 3 feet. Duke adjusted his grip, bit down harder. 2 feet. The fabric tore completely. Cole lunged, grabbed the edge with his right hand. Dirt crumbled. He swung his left hand up, caught a root, pulled. His chest cleared the edge. He threw his leg over, rolled onto solid ground, lay there, breathing. Charlie beside him. Duke standing over them both. The sinkhole collapsed completely. A rumble like distant thunder. If they'd been down there, Cole sat up, checked Charlie. The boy was crying but alive. Duke sat, looked at Cole. Cole reached out, gripped the dog's face with both hands. "Thank you," he whispered. Duke's tail wagged once. Cole stood, picked up Charlie, started walking toward the staging area. His radio crackled. Brennan, what's your status? I've got him. We're coming out. Cheers over the radio. Cole kept walking, Duke at his side. The staging area erupted when Cole walked out with Charlie, parents running, deputies calling clear. Charlie's father, a man in his 40s with a face that had aged 10 years, took his son with shaking hands. Thank you, he kept saying. Thank you, Sergeant. Cole nodded, stepped back. A deputy tried to hand him a blanket. Cole waved it off. Duke sat beside him, calm, professional. The deputy from earlier approached. That was incredible, Quid. The dog did it. Still, the deputy's radio squawked. He listened. His face changed. Sir, there's someone here to see you. Who? The deputy pointed. Standing beside a black SUV was Dr. Kenneth Marsh. He was smiling. Cole's blood went ice cold. Marsh approached, slow, deliberate, hands in his pockets. Mr. Brennan, Marsh said, impressive work. Cole didn't respond. Marsh looked at Duke. Remarkable animal, so loyal. What do you want? Just checking on the rescue. These woods can be dangerous. Sinkholes, unstable ground, hidden hazards. I'm aware. Are you? Marsh pulled out a small device. Contaminated soil, groundwater with elevated radiation. The kind that could make a person very sick. Cole's jaw clenched. That sinkhole you climbed out of. It's in an area flagged for environmental remediation. Has been since 1986. If I were you, I'd get checked out. It was a threat wrapped in concern. I'm fine, Cole said, for now, but exposure can be cumulative. Cancer, organ failure. Marsh pocketed the device, which is why I'm here to help. I can arrange for testing, free of charge. All you have to do is cooperate. By cooperate, you mean give you the evidence. Marsh's smile faded. I mean stop interfering. There is no cleanup. There will be, as soon as we secure the contaminated materials. Around them, the rescue operation was wrapping up. Nobody paying attention to two men talking. Nobody except Duke. The dog's body had gone rigid, eyes locked on Marsh. Marsh noticed, took a step back. I'd control your animal. Aggressive dogs can be seized, euthanized. Cole's vision tunneled. Duke's lips curled back, teeth showing, silent. Marsh raised his hands. Just a warning, between concerned citizens. He turned to leave. Stopped. Oh, and Mr. Brennan, your Aunt Ruth, lovely woman. It would be terrible if anything happened to her. Cole moved, one step. His hand shot out, grabbed Marsh's collar, slammed him against the SUV. You threaten her again, Cole said, voice dead calm, and I will end you. Marsh's composure cracked. Fear flashed in his eyes. Then a voice cut through. Brennan, step back. A deputy, hand on his sidearm. Cole held Marsh for one more second, let him see the cold in his eyes, then released him. Marsh straightened his collar, smile returning. Assault, in front of a witness. The deputy looked between them. What's going on? Nothing, Marsh said smoothly. Just a misunderstanding. Mr. Brennan is understandably stressed. He got in the SUV, drove away. The deputy watched him go, then turned to Cole. You okay? Fine. You know that guy. He's a problem I'm working on. Cole stood there, breathing, centering. Duke pressed against his leg. Cole looked down. The dog's eyes met his. And in that moment, Cole made a decision. He was done running. His father had chosen silence. Cole was choosing war. He walked to the Buick, opened the door. Duke jumped in. Cole started the engine, pulled out his phone, dialed Ruth. She answered on the first ring. Colt, did you find the boy? Yeah, he's safe. And you, alive for now. What does that mean? It means Marsh just threatened you, which means you need to leave. Now, get to Eddie's cousin. Take Declan. Don't tell me where, just go. What about you? I'm staying. Colt, I'm not running, not this time. Silence, then your father ran, it ate him alive. I know. Don't make his mistakes. I won't, I'm making new ones. He hung up, drove, not toward town, toward the North 40. Duke watched him, head tilted. We're not leaving, Cole said. Not yet, not ever. Duke's tail thumped once. They drove in silence. The storm was building. First drops of rain hitting the windshield. Cole pulled onto the access road, parked near the gate, got out. Duke followed. Cole walked to the spot where the chamber was buried. He stood there, rain falling harder now. I'm sorry, Cole said to the ghost of James Brennan. I'm sorry you had to carry this alone. I'm sorry I wasn't here. The rain answered, cold, indifferent. But I'm here now and I'm not leaving. Whatever comes, we're staying. Duke sat beside him. Cole put his hand on the dog's head. "We're staying on," he corrected. Thunder rolled across the sky. The storm was here. The rain came in sheets. Cole drove back to town. Duke pressed against the passenger door, watching lightning crack the horizon. His phone rang. "Declan, we've got a problem. The uploads are being blocked." "What do you mean?" "Someone's intercepting them. Government level." Cole's hands tightened on the wheel. "How many got through?" "Maybe 40%. Enough to tell the story. Not enough to prove it without the physical evidence." "Where's the physical evidence?" "With Ruth? Eddie's driving them to Tulsa. But Cole police scanners. State police got a bolo on Eddie's Buick. Armed and dangerous. Federal fugitives." "We're not federal anything." "Doesn't matter. Marsh has reach." Cole processed. "Can you reach Ruth?" "Her phone's off. They went dark, like you said." "Good." But it also meant Cole was alone. He looked at Duke, not alone. "I'm going to the library," Cole said. "Original tapes are still there." "The library's in town. Marsh will have people watching." "Let him." "Cole, I'm done hiding." He hung up, drove straight to the library, parked in front, no stealth. The rain pounded. Cole got out. Duke followed. Ruth's key still worked. Inside smelled like old books and silence. He went downstairs. The tapes were still there. Cole packed them in his jacket, all 4 reels. Duke's ears went up. Footsteps above. Multiple sets. Cole killed the lights, moved to the stairs. Duke beside him. Voices. Professional. Clipped. Basement, clear. Moving to check. Flashlight beams cut through darkness. Cole had maybe 10 seconds. He looked at Duke. Hand signals. Stay quiet. Follow. Duke's eyes locked. Ready. The first man descended. Tactical gear. Submachine gun. Cole waited until the man reached the bottom. Then moved. Silent. Fast. He grabbed the man's weapon, twisted. The gun clattered away. Cole's elbow drove into the man's throat. The man dropped. "Contact basement. 2 more coming down." Cole grabbed the first man's radio. "Basement secure. False alarm." Pause. "Copy." Footsteps retreated. Cole zip-tied the unconscious contractor. Gagged him. Duke watched. Calm. This wasn't his first tactical operation. Cole moved up the stairs, slow. The main floor was empty. The team had moved to the 2nd level. He slipped out the back, into the rain. Got to the Buick, started it. A spotlight hit him. "Freeze hands where we can see them." 2 contractors, weapons raised. Cole raised his hands slowly. Duke was still in the car, hidden. The first contractor approached. "Out of the vehicle." Cole opened the door, stepped out. The contractor moved closer, gun leveled. "Where are the—" Duke exploded through the open door. He hit the contractor's gun arm, jaws locked. The man screamed. The second contractor swung his weapon toward Duke. Cole moved, kicked the man's knee, heard it pop. The contractor went down. Duke released the first man and circled back to Cole, both contractors on the ground. Cole picked up a radio, keyed it. "Marsh," he said, "you want me? Come get me yourself. Stop sending boys." He dropped the radio, crushed it, got in the Buick. Duke jumped in. Cole drove. Fast, toward the North 40. The storm was worsening, wind pushing the car sideways. His phone rang, unknown number. Cole answered. Marsh's voice, calm. "You're making this harder than it needs to be." "Good. I have resources you can't imagine. I have a dog and the truth. Seems fair." "The truth," Marsh laughed. Cold. "The truth is a choice. Your father chose one truth. I'm offering you a different one, where you walk away, where your aunt lives, where no one gets hurt." "What's the other truth?" "The one where everyone loses." Cole's vision went red. "Touch my dog," he said quietly, "and I'll kill you with my bare hands." "Noted. Let's try another way. Meet me. North 40, where your father's chamber is. Just you, me, and an opportunity to end this cleanly." "You mean kill me quietly?" "I mean negotiate, face to face. No contractors, no weapons." Cole thought. Tactical assessment. It was a trap, but traps work both ways. 1 hour, Cole said. "If I see anyone but you, deal's off." "Agreed, and Mr. Brennan, bring the tapes." "Well, why owing? Because if you don't, I'll assume you've distributed copies, which means I have no incentive to keep you alive." The line went dead. Cole drove through the storm. Rain hammering, thunder shaking the frame. Duke's ears were flat. He knew. Dogs always knew when humans were about to do something stupid. Cole reached over, scratched behind Duke's ears. "One more fight," he said. "Then it's done." Duke's eyes said, I've heard that before. But the dog stayed. Because that's what Duke did. The North 40 looked like the end of the world. Rain turning ground to soup, lightning fracturing the sky, wind bending trees. Cole parked near the chamber site, killed the engine, sat in silence. Duke beside him. The tapes were in his jacket. 4 reels. 40 years of buried truth. Listen, Cole said to Duke. When we get out there, if things go bad, I need you to run. Not fight. Run. Get to Ruth. Stay alive. Duke's ears rotated. I mean it. You've saved my life enough times. If this goes wrong, you don't go down with me. That's an order. Duke huffed. I heard you. I'm not promising anything. Cole smiled despite everything. Good enough. He checked his watch. 9:47 p.m. Cole got out. Duke followed. The rain soaked them in seconds. A vehicle approached, headlights cutting through the storm. The black SUV, alone. It stopped 50 feet away. The door opened. Dr. Kenneth Marsh stepped out. No umbrella, no jacket. Just a dress, straw shirt soaked and glasses beaded with rain. He walked forward, hands visible, empty. Cole met him halfway, Duke at his side. You came, Marsh said. You doubted most people run when they're outmatched. I'm not most people. No, you're James Brennan's son, which explains the stubbornness. Marsh smiled. He was stubborn too, right until the end. Cole's jaw clenched. You killed him. I didn't have to. Stress killed him. Guilt. Carrying secrets eats men alive. Marsh wiped rain from his glasses. I offered him the same deal I'm offering you. Walk away. Live quietly. He refused. He did. And look where it got him. Lightning flashed. Thunder followed. Here's my offer, Marsh said. You give me the tapes, everything, and in exchange I make you disappear. You mean kill me? I mean relocate you. New name, new life. Somewhere far from here, with enough money to start over. And Ruth, she stays, lives out her years in peace. And the 11 kids who died, Marsh's expression didn't change. Ancient history. We can tell the truth. The truth, Marsh shook his head. You still don't understand. The truth is what we decide it is. Project Thornfield was national security, classified. The contamination was an unfortunate side effect, regrettable, but justified. 11 children versus millions protected by the program. It's called math. Cole felt the rage building. Duke's body tensed. No deal, Cole said. Marsh's face hardened. Then you've made your choice. He snapped his fingers. Lights flooded the field. 6 sets, SUVs surrounding them. Doors opened. Men got out, armed, at least a dozen. Cole's stomach dropped. Did you really think I'd come alone? Marsh asked. The contractors advanced, weapons raised. Duke's body vibrated, silent, deadly. Cole put a hand on the dog's head. Easy. To Marsh, you lied. I negotiated. Marsh gestured to the contractors. Put the dog down first. Cole's blood went ice. You're not touching my dog. I'm not. They are. The contractors advanced. Duke's lips curled back. Cole's mind raced. 12 armed men, open ground, no cover. Suicide odds. Unless his hand went to his pocket, felt the small brass key. What if there was more than tapes in that chamber? What if James had left insurance of a different kind? Duke, Cole said quietly. Chamber. Go. Duke hesitated. Go. The dog bolted, sprinting through rain toward the buried hatch. Stop that animal, Marsh shouted. 2 contractors opened fire. Muzzle flashes, thunder, rain. Duke zigzagged, seal evasion patterns. The rounds missed. Duke reached the hatch and disappeared into darkness. Marsh's face went white. No! He ran toward the chamber. The contractors followed. Cole ran too. He reached the hatch, dropped into darkness, landed hard. Pain shot through his knee. Duke was there, circling. Cole pulled the brass key from his pocket. Looked around. In the corner. Behind the metal desk. A steel footlocker. Padlocked. The keyhole matched. Cole jammed the key in, twisted. The lock opened. He lifted the lid. Inside, a canvas bag. Heavy. Faded markings. Atlas Powder Company. Mining explosives. Cole opened it. Dynamite. Old wax-coated sticks. Commercial detonators. Blasting wire. James must have taken them from the drilling site. Insurance. Footsteps above. Shouting. Brennan, come out, or we're coming in. Cole worked fast. Old training, demo school, plant charges, set timers. He had 90 seconds of materials. He placed charges at the support beams, set the timers. 60 seconds. He grabbed Duke. We're leaving, fast. They climbed the ladder, emerged into rain and gunfire. Contractors everywhere. Marsh screaming, take him alive. Cole ran, Duke beside him. Bullets tore the air. Cole's boot hit mud. He slipped, fell. A contractor was on him, gun raised. Duke hit the man like a missile. Teeth found throat. Cole scrambled up. The chamber exploded. Not a fireball, a controlled collapse. The ground buckled, the hatch imploded, and beneath it the sealed injection wells cracked. Contaminated water under pressure. Suddenly released, the ground erupted. A geyser of dark water shooting 30 feet up. Radioactive, poisonous. The thing James Brennan had tried to keep buried. Now fountaining into the storm. Contractors scattered, screaming, running. Marsh stood frozen, staring at the geyser. No, he whispered. Cole grabbed Duke, ran for the Buick. Behind them, the North 40 was chaos. Water spreading, ground collapsing. Cole reached the car, threw Duke in, gunned the engine, drove. In the rearview mirror, the geyser was still going, visible for miles, impossible to hide now. The secret was out, literally. 3 days later, the North 40 was a federal disaster zone, EPA, CDC, Army Corps of Engineers, news vans from every network. The geyser had stopped after 6 hours, but the damage was done. Contaminated water had spread across 40 acres, exactly what James Brennan's tapes said would be there. Cole watched from Ruth's front porch, Duke beside him, both drinking coffee, both healing. The dog had a bandage on his shoulder graze from a bullet. Cole had a boot cast twisted ankle. They'd survived. Ruth brought out more coffee. News says Marsh resigned. Resigned or fired? Does it matter? Not really. Declan pulled up in a rental car, got out holding newspapers. New York Times, Washington Post, LA Times. Same headline, Buried Truth, Oklahoma, cover-up exposed. After 40 years, Declan sat on the steps, grinning. We did it. James did it, Cole corrected. We just finished what he started. Still, Declan held up his phone. My inbox is exploding. Book deals, documentary offers. Tell it, Cole said. All of it. Ruth smiled. Your father would be proud. Cole wasn't sure about that. James had chosen silence to save one life. Cole had chosen noise and endangered thousands. But the truth was out. The contamination was being cleaned. The families of the 11 children were getting closure. That had to count for something. A car pulled up. Sheriff's deputy, the young one. He got out, walked to the porch. Mr. Brennan, mind if we talk? Cole tensed. Am I under arrest? No, sir. Actually, I'm here about something else. The deputy pulled out a folder. Charlie Porter's father wanted me to give you this. Cole opened it. A check, made out to him. The amount was significant. And a note, you saved my son. I can never repay that, but I can help you keep your land. Tom Porter. Cole stared. The check was enough to pay off the bank, with money left over. I can't accept this. You can, Ruth said firmly. You saved that boy, and you saved this town. Take it. Cole looked at Duke. The dog's tail wagged. Take it. Build something. Stay. Cole folded the check, put it in his pocket. Thank you. The deputy nodded. Thank you, sir, for everything. He left. The four of them sat in silence, watching the news vans pack up. What now? Declan asked. Cole looked at his land, at the town, at Duke. Now, he said, we stay. Duke's tail wagged, finally. Cole thought about miracles. Not the kind in movies, not parting seas, the quiet kind. Duke refusing to leave when Cole wanted to run. Ruth keeping evidence for 3 years. Charlie's father having money to save the land. 40-year-old dynamite that worked. Each one small, ordinary. But together they'd changed at everything. Maybe that's how God works, Cole said quietly. Not changing the world in one stroke, just putting the right pieces in the right places and trusting us to see them. Duke's tail wagged. Or maybe God just knew you needed a good dog. Cole smiled. Yeah, maybe that's exactly what he knew. For the first time in years, sitting on this porch with Duke beside him and clean land stretching to the horizon, Cole felt something he'd forgotten. Not happiness, not yet, but peace, the kind that came from finishing something that mattered. From staying when leaving was easier. From letting a loyal dog teach you that courage wasn't fearlessness. It was just refusing to run alone. 6 months later, the small house was finished. 1 bedroom, 1 bath, A porch big enough for 2 chairs and a dog. Cole sat in one chair, Duke in the other, watching the sun set over the land that was clean now, remediated, safe. The North 40 would never be farmland, but it could be something else. A memorial, a reminder. The mailbox at the road had fresh letters, Brennan. Ruth visited twice a week, brought pie, told stories. Declan had published his book. Bestseller, movie rights sold. Marsh had been arrested 4 days after the geyser. FBI intercepted him at a private airfield outside Tulsa, boarding a charter to Kuala Lumpur. One-way ticket, cash payment, no extradition. The evidence was overwhelming. James's tapes, medical records, soil samples, and testimony from 3 contractors who'd flipped, 23 federal counts, environmental terrorism, conspiracy to commit murder, obstruction spanning 4 decades. The trial started in September. Marsh pled not guilty. The jury took 4 hours. Guilty. All counts. Sentencing life without parole. Federal supermax in Colorado. Cole hadn't attended the trial. Didn't need to. Justice, when it finally came, didn't need an audience. The 11 families had received settlements. Not enough. Never enough. But something. Sarah's mother had called, crying, thanking him. Cole had cried too. Duke had pressed against his leg, grounding him. Now sitting on the porch, Cole felt peace. Not the peace of forgetting, the peace of finishing. His phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. Cole opened it, a photo, taken from distance, showing the small house, the porch, Cole and Duke. Below it, one word, beautiful. No signature. But Cole knew. Someone was watching. He studied the photo. It was taken from elevation, maybe 200 yards out. Telephoto lens, professional surveillance. He opened the metadata. Location, Arlington, Virginia. Pentagon area code. Timestamp 2 hours ago. Marsh was in Colorado. Locked down. Which meant this wasn't Marsh. This was someone else. Someone with resources. Someone who'd let Thornfield burn because it was expendable, but was making sure Cole knew we're still here. Duke's ears rotated. He stood, walked to the porch edge. A car engine. Distant. Coming closer. Cole's hand moved to the knife at his belt. The car passed. Didn't slow. Taillights fading. Duke watched until it disappeared, then returned to his chair. But he didn't lie down. Still on duty. Cole understood. The war was over, but the watch never ended. He deleted the text, put the phone away. Let them watch, Cole said to Duke. We're not going anywhere. Duke's tail moved once. Good, because neither am I. They sat in silence as the sun dropped below the horizon, painting the clean land in shades of gold and shadow. Tomorrow might bring new threats, new ghosts. But tonight there was just a man and a hard-won piece of ground, and that was enough. That was more than enough. That was everything.